What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Sharpe. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now back to Undisputed.
Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
That doing good.
I had a great sleep last night in my Dak Prescott model sleep number bed. And then I woke up this morning and I was so refreshed, I went and out of mothballs, I got my Dak jersey. Check this out.
Back.
It's back. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. Back in business. Here we go.
No playoff for you. No playoff for you.
Shannon, too soon. Too soon.
Okay.
Can we let Skip have his moment, please? Because, guys, we have so much to talk about. It finally happened. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have agreed on a deal that keeps the quarterback in Dallas for 4 years, like Skip just said. The new contract is reportedly worth $160 million with a record $126 guaranteed to go along with a $66 million signing bonus. The first year, Dak's cap hit will be just over $22 million. Now, I know Skip has plenty to say. Shannon, I got to start with you. Who won the deal, Jerry or Dak?
Hold on. The godfather of the debate format, Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is the originator of this. He started this. Everything that you see that we do around these tables early in the morning is because of Skip. Skip Bayless has continually come out here over the last year. Dak Prescott is not worth $40 million. His agents, now I've talked to somebody close to the Cowboys that said Tom Brady and Dak Prescott overplayed their hands. I told Skip Bayless from day one, I said, Skip, you're not going to get it for less than $40 million because they see where the market is going. So let me check out these numbers. The $40 million per year is only behind Patrick Mahomes. The $66 million signing at the time of signing is the highest in NFL history. He got $126 million in guarantees, which is the second behind Patrick Mahomes. His $95 million fully guaranteed. $75 million in year one. $116 million, $106 million, Skip, over 16 months when you factor in he got $31 million for the franchise tag, and now he's about to make $75 million in year one. No trade. And they can never, ever franchise him again. Dak Prescott won, which I told you he would win. Because if you look at where the quarterback market is going, Skip, just 2 years ago, Jimmy G was the highest paid quarterback at $27.5 million. And now here we are. Patrick Mahomes is at 45. Dak Prescott's at 40, average 40 per year. But the first 3 years is 42 per year. Dak Prescott got everything he wanted and more, which I told you he was going to get. Oh, Jerry's not going to play this. Oh, Jerry. If you want Dak Prescott long term, you're going to have to go to $40+ million a year in order to get him. And that's what Jerry did. Jerry realized it, Skip, that the market was not coming down. If anything, and plus, Dak got something that's very unique. Dak going to become a free agent when the new TV money kicks in. So he's going to get an opportunity to get another big bite of the apple. So, Skip, look, it's hard to say a millionaire won over a billionaire. But in this situation, we're talking about just this contract negotiation. I believe Dak Prescott 1,000% won because he got more money than anybody thought that he would outside of Dak and maybe a few people, especially his agent, Skip. But when you factor in, Dak Prescott has never been a Super Bowl MVP or won a Super Bowl. He's never been a regular season MVP. And get this kind of money, I think it goes to show you Dak Prescott and his representative won this negotiation.
And now it is the Godfather's turn to turn the tables back on the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe.
Okay.
First of all, before I answer Jenny's question about who won, allow me to say I am so relieved. I am so happy that my 2-year nightmare has finally come to a close. I believe it was also the great Shannon Sharpe who has said repeatedly over the last 6 months, he's going to be slapped with another tag, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to play his way right out of Dallas, Texas this year, right?
Yes.
That is not going to happen. Dak, at least for 4 more years, is going to be my quarterback of my team. And it felt like last night that the heavens opened and out of heaven fell a deal that I am very comfortable with for both sides because we are back in business. Now, to the question at hand. First of all, there's no more bad blood between Jerry and Dak.
It better not be.
There better not be. So it was up to Jerry to olive branch this to make Dak feel like he got the deal that he wanted, or at least an approximation
Only
thereof.
Jerry could do that, though, Skip.
Okay.
It wasn't on Dak's part. It was on Jerry's part.
He is a super salesman. So think about what Jerry Jones just pulled off. Think about why I believe Jerry won this deal. This was wily old Jerry Jones, the cap wizard, leaping through loopholes the way he's never leaped through them before. So what happened was, let's step back from this. He made Dak happy in the ways you just said, because he did give him the biggest signing bonus ever, but it was only $1 million over what Russell Wilson got, 66 to 65. Okay, it's good because it helps Dak's pride say, I got the best ever. Then he gave him the most guaranteed money ever. It's slightly more over the 4 years than Deshaun got.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Yes.
And he barely gave him $40 a year for 4 years, just barely. There's some incentives that could get it to $164 million on the back end, but he makes him feel like I got 40.
Right.
I was afraid it was going to take 43, 44 a year, but it barely took 40. So it's $40 million for 4 years. Now for the 2 money developments. Dak Prescott and his agent, Todd France, accepted 2 very team-friendly clauses that I'm pretty shocked that they accepted because they make this deal palatable for the Dallas Cowboys. The first one was they agreed to take a 6-year deal with 2 voidable years on the back.
Right.
It was a structure that we have discussed on this show as a possibility. Some of these things are just over my head. They're so complex, I can't process it because I'm out of my league and out of my lane on this. But he did accept the 6-year deal with the 2 voidables. So that allows the signing bonus to be divvied up or prorated across 6 years instead of just 4.
Correct.
And all of a sudden, I woke up last night and said, time out. Wait a second, the first-year cost against the cap is only $22.2 million?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Do you realize that's only the 21st highest cap hit in all of pro football? So Dak Prescott just got the second biggest contract of any quarterback ever, but to Patrick Mahomes, but he only counts the 21st highest cap hit in this coming cap year, which is pandemic strapped at $185 million. Everybody lost a little bit on their cap. But that 21st, do you realize it's only 13th among quarterbacks? Right. And do you realize that Fletcher Cox will have a bigger cap hit than Dak Prescott? Or how about Frank Clark in Kansas City? Bigger cap hit next year than Dak Prescott. How about your man Von Miller, who is not on his last legs, but he's not quite probably what he used to be. He will have a bigger cap hit next year than Dak Prescott. And remember what's about to happen as we hit free agency. Because every team is going to be more cap strapped, all the significant free agents will say, just give me a 1-year deal so I can hit the market when the cap blows up again because of the new TV deal.
Well, Skip, this is why the long-term deal always made sense to me. Because if the cap is coming down, why would you want Dak to count damn near $40 million against the cap?
Okay, but do you realize what just happened? Dallas is now going into the free agent market after 2 significant free agents. Book it. Watch. They'll go get 2 significant. I don't know who it is or what it is, but they will be players that will make you say, wow, they got them too.
Everybody get some defense.
Okay.
But Skip, to you said, okay, Dak took these voidable years at the end of the contract, and then, for Jerry, for cap purposes, he's prorated the signing bonus. Skip, Dak doesn't care if his cap number is $15. Dak Prescott, when he signs his name on the dotted line, is going to get $66 million.
I do think he cares.
No.
I do think he's Brady-esque. I do think he wants a supporting cast. I do think he wants not to take a quarter of the salary cap where they don't have any help around.
Let me ask you a question. When has Tom Brady ever got the biggest signing bonus in NFL history?
Okay, but he's always taken less money. And how many does he have? He's got 7 Super Bowls. Are you kidding?
Dak didn't take less money.
Okay. It's going to be spread. And here we go to clause number 2 that he accepted. Here we go.
Go ahead.
It is called the automatic conversion clause. And they swallowed it. I'm shocked by this. DeMarcus Lawrence has one, Zach Martin has one, and Tyron Smith has one in his contract. Now, I'm going to read you the language that the Dallas Morning News had right out of Ty Smith's contract. Now, Dak has this language in his contract. Here we go. Ready? Quote, player and club agree that on one or more occasions and at any time during the duration of this contract, the club, in its sole discretion, shall have the right but not the obligation to convert any portion of a player's salary into signing bonus. All they have to do is email the player and say, we just turned X dollars into a signing bonus.
I take that, Skip.
Okay. Well, guess what? The team will take it too, because then you can keep prorating it over years.
Yes.
So they've already done it to Zach Martin. They've done it to Ty Smith. They can restructure your contract or Dak's contract at any point in time at their discretion.
Skip.
It's their call.
Skip.
This is unheard of. This is another loophole that Jerry jumped right through. He is the master of the cap.
People at home, let me tell you what Skip just said. Let's just say for the sake of argument.
Why don't you talk to me? Don't talk to the people.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you.
Tell me.
Okay,
Try and explain it to me.
What I'm explaining to you, let's just say for the sake of argument, you got a contract until 2025. And Fox says, you know what, Skip Bayless, we're going to take the money that you're supposed to make in 2023
I got
and 2024.
Spread it out.
No, what we're going to do, we're going to give you that money in 2021 and 2022. Who's upset about that? I'm getting the money. It's not like they're taking money from him, Skip.
No.
All they're doing is taking the money. If it's like $40 million, they say, what we're going to do, we're going to turn that $40 million, we're going to give it to you in a signing bonus, and then prorate that over again. Now, what is he upset about?
Well, I love it, because all of a sudden, if you start looking at the cap hits down the line, they start to get extraordinary, because next year in 2022, it goes to 33.2. So it goes from 22.2 to 33.2. Right. Then it goes to 44.2. Then it goes to 47.2.
Right.
Watch Jerry work his cap magic and knock those numbers way down, way down, way down. Watch him.
Skip. But the thing, what I'm trying to get you to understand, the player doesn't
I know it cold.
Yeah, the player doesn't care about the cap. As long as you giving me my money, that's what D-Law told them. Y'all worry about the cap. Get me my money. Todd France and Dak Prescott say, Jerry and Steven, you worry about the cap. Give me my money. You can have all that language. You can take my salary at $35 million that I'm supposed to make in 2023, and you want to turn that into a signing bonus and give it to me in 2022, I'll take it. But I'm getting my money. At the end of the day, the player cares about his money.
Okay, but all I care about is my salary cap. As I keep telling you, I'm way bigger of a Cowboy fan than I am of a Dak fan. I'm very happy he's still my quarterback. I don't think he's Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's Deshaun Watson. I think he might be the 9th or 10th best quarterback in pro football. But this is palatable to me, because this I can swallow. Only a 22.2 hit. Right. Guess how much money he's making this year? Guess how much?
Making $75 million.
$75 million. How is it only a 22.2 2.2 hit on the cap. That's like cap wizardry.
Yeah,
that's like a magician.
But Skip, that's what players have been telling teams all the time. You worry about the cap. You can figure it out. I need my money. Skip, Dak don't care about his cap hit.
All right.
He's got $75 million with no state income tax in the state of Texas.
Thank
I
you.
don't give a damn about no cap hit.
Yeah, well, I don't give a damn about how much he's making now, because think of what Jerry just got. He got 5 years of Dak Prescott out of the 4th round of the draft when, frankly, he didn't want him. Remember, he wanted Paxton Lynch. He said, my regret is we didn't trade back in the first round by Paxton Lynch. Where is he now? He's gone.
I have no idea.
Right? Connor Cook. Jerry Jones wanted to take Connor Cook in the 4th round ahead of Dak Prescott. Where is he now?
Go.
Thank you. Where is Dak Prescott? Well, he's going into his 6th year with the Dallas Cowboys.
He's the highest paid quarterback.
And look what happened. The first year he made $1.2 million as a rookie, and I thought he had the greatest rookie year in his football as they went 13-3, and they got it to 31-all in a playoff game. Remember that against Green Bay, and then lost to 2 intergalactic field goals. Second year, Dak Prescott made a grand total of $941,000. Third year, $630,000. Fourth year, $2.2 million, and then this past year, $31.4 million because they tagged him. Okay, if I do the average of 5 years of salary, Jerry Jones has had Dak Prescott for $7.3 million a year.
Yes.
Wow, what a bargain that is. Two Pro Bowls and 2 division championships. I'll take that.
And that's, Skip, and that's what I was, look, I said the number that I thought it would take for Dak Prescott to stay with the Cowboys long term. You and I debated. I said it's going to be somewhere in the 40s. You didn't know if Jerry was willing to go to that, considering Dak hadn't taken this team to a championship game, hadn't won a regular season MVP. So you were concerned, well, how does Jerry justify? Is he Patrick Mahomes? I don't believe, even though Deshaun Watson hasn't won a regular season MVP or taken a team to a Super Bowl, I believe Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. So how does he leapfrog? He played the market perfectly, Skip, because he knows what the salary. So in 2 years, what do you think these salaries, Skip? I got a feeling after next year, Josh Allen is about to be the highest paid quarterback. He's about to jump Patrick Mahomes.
Well, Lamar's going to be up there too.
There you go.
Right?
And so Jerry understood that, Skip, where the market was heading. Because I never understood this, Jerry. You mean to tell me you was willing to let the guy play for almost $40 million when the cap is coming down? I could see if the cap was going up, because then, Skip, he wouldn't be as big a percentage against the cap. You said, Steven says, he would like for the quarterback to be, 14%, maybe 15% of the cap?
Yep.
Well, hell, he's about to be 25, 30% of the cap at $40 million.
Yep.
So Jerry's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this thing. I'm going to bite the bullet, knowing, Skip, where the TV money is going to come in at. And Dak was not going to give you a hometown discount for the very reason you said. He's had Dak for about 6 years, and it's averaged $7.4 million a year. Now, if you take out that $31 million, Skip, what's that average? Like 2, maybe even 2, not even 2 million.
Not even 2. Agreed.
So Dak wasn't going to give him a discount. I think this deal, it works for everybody. Jerry gets what he wants, which is the cap relief in order to help finish building out this team. Dak gets what he wants, which is money and security.
Okay, so by all accounts, Dak is ahead of schedule, coming off what I was fearing was a career-threatening ankle surgery, right?
Yes.
So if he is close to 100% through training camp, then all of a sudden, speaking of back in business, the sun shines again on the Dallas Cowboys, because they were about to go into another year of bad blood with their leader. He is the face of the franchise. He is the commanding voice in that locker room. And if he were on his way out of town, this was going to be another lost season, because you'd lose heart. You'd say, Jerry has no respect for our leader, and our leader is unhappy.
And plus, Skip, what you get, win, lose, or draw, what are the reporters asking him? You have a good game? Do you think, you've shown the Cowboys you should be the long-term answer? If they lose a game, do you think, what do you think this is done? But here's the thing, Skip. Think about what he got. He got all of this, and as you mentioned, he's winning no Super Bowls, he has no regular season MVPs, and he's coming off a broken ankle. He got all of this after all of that.
Right, and I keep telling you, over his last 17 starts, he's 6-11.
Correct.
I'm okay with that, because I believe he's just entering his prime at age 27. Right. And I loved a quote a couple of weeks back from Zach Martin, and it was, Dak Prescott is someone everyone will run through a wall for in this locker room. Well, that's huge. You can't buy that. You can't put a price on that.
Correct.
So all of a sudden, the leader is back in the saddle.
Right.
The leader should be happy, and I think the leader will play less stressed because we saw down the stretch of 2 seasons ago, before he got hurt, obviously, when you were giving him Fs for 7 of those 13 games, I thought he was crumbling under the pressure to bet on himself against Jerry Jones once they had fallen apart over how much the deal would be.
Right.
Okay? So now all that goes away. Now I am hoping, I can't wait for Josh Allen to get his money, for Lamar to get his money, down the line for anybody else to get theirs, because I need Dak to fall back in the pack of salaries so that the pressure lessens on Dak.
Well, it's about to, Skip. You know, like I said, Jimmy G, just 2 years ago, 27.5, Skip, was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
Now that's 12th. So now, as you mentioned, you got Lamar coming up. You have Josh Allen. You have Baker Mayfield. In 2 years, Kyler Murray is going to be at the table.
Yep.
So now you're going to be looking at Dak. In 2 years, Skip, Dak going to probably be like the 10th highest paid quarterback, which will be a bar. Now, he's going to be able to go back to the table in 4 years.
Yeah.
But the new TV money, who knows? Hell, Skip, the cap might be $300 million by then. We have no idea. But considering everything, I think Dak won. Skip, now Jerry won also, because guess what? Jerry don't have to worry about, am I going to use the franchise tag again? Man, what do I have to do with Dak Prescott? He doesn't have to worry about that. But just for this negotiation, just for this, considering Dak has none of Dak makes more money than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a 3-time league MVP and a Super Bowl MVP. He makes more money than Tom Brady with 7-3. So, to say by any stretch of the imagination, anybody other than Dak won would be not true.
I think Jerry won this.
No.
Jerry is back in the driver's seat here.
Skip.
My team is on the way again. This team has a chance to win big next year because of the 2 significant free agents it's going to sign.
They've always had an opportunity big, but they always underachieve. Skip, look, like I said, a billionaire playing a millionaire. I mean, Jerry Jones gave this man this kind of money. He had that in his back pocket. So this new TV money hit, Jerry Jones going to be worth what, Skip? $11 billion? He's worth 8 now. New TV money hit. The Cowboys going to be worth what, $8-10 billion? But considering what Dak hasn't done, and to be able to get this off of a broken ankle, when some said it might be career threatening, to get that kind of money, Skip, $75 million in year 1, the cap hit could have been 52 cents. Dak said, I don't care. I got $75 million in my pocket.
No, I think he does care.
No!
You don't think he wants to win, so it's all about Dak? That's just wrong.
Skip. I told you Dak wasn't giving you a discount. I told you Dak was not going to give you a Tom Brady type deal.
They were talking about $43-44 million. He barely got 40.
Skip, he got 42 over the first 3 years.
36 was on the table back in September of 2019.
If you signed him before you signed Zeke, you could have had him for 32.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And
so you cost yourself 30 to 40.
Where is your man Carson Wentz now? Where is he?
Skip. Okay, he got traded, but did he not get his money? You make it seem like he don't get no money. Now he got that money. He got $70 million 2 years before Dak.
How much did the Eagles have to eat?
Skip.
It's like $35 million. How much did the Rams have to eat of Jared Goff?
Skip.
$25 million?
I hope the Cowboys doesn't have to eat anything. I hope Dak lives up to it. But that's not the issue, what we're talking about, whether or not somebody has dead money. The fact of the matter is Dak Prescott, which I told you, the people that I were talking to said Dak wasn't going to give Jerry a discount. And I told you he was not going to be able to sign Dak Prescott for less than $40 million. Dak got what he wanted, a no-trade clause, and you can never franchise him again?
Yep. That's standard. That's standard fare. That's not shocking.
How many quarterbacks you think got that? You think Aaron Rodgers got a no trade?
A $22 million cap hit off that deal? Are you kidding me?
Skip.
Thank you, Dak.
Skip, let me ask you a question. If you give somebody $100 million, they're going to prorate it over 5 or 6 years. So the cap hit is always going to be low. But let me ask you a question.
Well, it's not always. This is the 21st cap hit in the whole league.
Skip.
Are you kidding?
Let me ask you a question. Where is Fletcher Cox in terms of this deal? What's Dak? Okay, give Dak Prescott cap hit this year is what? 22 million? Okay, give me the next 3 years of Dak cap hit.
I already did. I read them to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be 45, 47. So where is that?
33, 44, 47.
Okay.
with the clause that at any point I can turn it into signing bonus and prorate more. I can divvy it up backwards.
Do it.
Yeah.
Skip, you got to.
Okay.
Here's the thing, Skip.
All I care about is the cap hit. I don't care about the money.
Dak just cares about his money.
Okay. No, he doesn't. He wants to win football games. You don't think so?
Yeah, Skip.
You don't. You don't want to see him win.
Skip, see, you think it's mutually exclusive. If you don't give the team a discount, you can't win. I'm saying players want their money, and just like Jerry and Steven figured out how to manipulate the cap, all players are saying manipulate the cap like when you want to. So pay me my money, and then you figure out the cap however you want to figure it out, but just give me my money. The man's going to get $75 million. So what your cap hit is $22 million? I ain't making $22 million.
All I care is about my team winning, and we got a real shot to win big next year.
So let me ask you a question.
Next year.
Let me ask you a question. So why didn't you win in 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20? Did you not have Dak Prescott as your quarterback?
Well, obviously, you kept giving him F's for every game. You don't like him. You have ridiculed him more than any man alive. You have told me he's garbage again and again and again on the show. Every Monday you have.
And I told you he was going to get that money.
Oh, okay.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
We have been talking about it for more than 2 years, and now it's finally done. Dak Prescott's new contract ended up at 4 years and $160 million, according to reports. The Cowboys quarterback will also get a record $126 guaranteed to go along with a $66 million signing bonus. Former Cowboys cornerback Orlando Scandrick is joining us now. Orlando, you have sat at the negotiating table before with the Joneses. So in your opinion, are you surprised this deal got done?
No, not at all. I said before, they don't lose players that they want to keep. It was something that came down to, they just had to get it done. Deadlines make deals. Dak wanted to be there. They figured it out. I think it was a great deal for both sides, and I'm looking forward to the future for them. And hopefully they can get things back on track and get back to what the Cowboys have made a name for as a franchise over the whole of the franchise, not the recent years, but hopefully they can get back to that.
Yeah.
Yet, Orlando, last night I was pleasantly shocked that they got it done now. It just didn't feel like it was heading to a conclusion after they had missed so many deadlines before. Shannon and I both agreed, for the last 6 months, that it looked like they were heading toward a second tag and a last year for Dak Prescott in Dallas, Texas. And both sides found a compromising position where I think both sides are very happy with what they came away with, which makes me, as a lifelong Cowboy fan, extremely happy. I didn't see it coming at this point, but you sound like you did. You thought this was enough of a final deadline that they had to get it done.
I think it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do for the team, for the future of building the organization. If you would have to franchise tag them, you were going to go with a $37 million cap hit. You were going to have to move around some money, push some money out that you didn't want to get some other guys signed in free agency. And then you were sending the wrong signal to Dak. I think, you were going to pay him. If you knew you were going to pay him July 14th before it was the end of the day. Why not just pay him March 7th or March 8th, whatever it was yesterday? I'm sorry, my days are all mixed up. But it was the right thing to do. It's a great deal for both sides. And like I said, I'm so happy for Dak, and I'm looking forward to the future of the Dallas Cowboys.
So having played with Dak in that team, tell us how much does Dak mean to that locker room?
Franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees. It's the price of doing business. It's the right message to send to the younger players. It's the right message to send to future players and other players that you want to attract to the Cowboys. And the Cowboys, and Stephen Jones will tell you, and Jerry Jones will tell you, if you sat at the table with them, they're not going to save any money. They're going to use all the money that they have, and they're going to allocate it to the players, and they're going to find the best players to build the best team. And I think it was a fantastic decision. And like I said, it's going to be big for them going down the road, and they will continue to draw players to Dallas because of things like this. And not to mention, the deal's $42 million, but it's really another 10% or 8% because there's no state tax in Texas.
Yep. Good point.
Oh, but the only thing was that I knew where the market was heading. And I knew once Deshaun Watson had gotten $39 million with basically 4 years left on his deal, Dak wasn't going to go below that. Jerry could have got this deal done. And Skip, you and I were talking about this. When Zeke Elliott, if you signed Dak, you could have gotten Dak for probably $32-33 million because at that time, Carson Wentz nor Jared Goff had signed their deals. Okay, Dak is coming up, only had 1 year left on his deal at that point in time. Wentz and Goff not only had 2 years, they had the fourth year and they had the fifth year player option. So when they sign their deals and they get $34 million, how do you go to Dak and say, well, Dak, you ain't got but 1 year left. You ain't really got no years left on your deal. We'll give you the same amount of money. The question that I had was, in order for you to keep him, are you really willing to go to $40 million because the guy hasn't won a regular season MVP, he hasn't gone to the Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl MVP, and he's coming off a broken ankle? So Jerry looked at it like, hold on. But he realized the market wasn't coming down. Jimmy Garoppolo just 2 years ago was the highest paid quarterback at $27.5 million. Now Patrick Mahomes at $45. Plus there's something that they can do, Skip, within the next 9 years. They can add a 17th game. So the money's going to be there.
Yep.
And Todd Franson, that's what you're going to see. You're going to be surprised at how many agents hold out, trying to get that extra dollar because he says, we know with another 9 years left on this deal, you guys are going to put that 17th game in there. Y'all just trying to find out how and when to do it, but you're going to put it in there, and we need to get compensated for it. So the only thing that I was surprised by is not that they got it done, because I knew they were going to, in order for them to keep Dak, it was going to be $40+ million. But what Dak got, the no trade, the no franchise tag, the 66 inside and 75 in the first year, $106 million over 16 months. He hit it out the park. This is not just a walk-off grand slam. This is a 600-foot grand slam to win like 3 World Series. Dak won this deal,
Yeah, I mean, we can attack this from so many different angles. Once he switched to Todd France, I don't think there ever was a deal like a discount. No. He switched to Todd France to maximize on his career earnings. And once you started to hear things like, well, when you play for the Cowboys and you're making so much money in marketing, that's when you knew that the Brinks truck was going to have to back up.
Yeah.
And another thing, when did it become a prerequisite to get paid to be a franchise quarterback that you got to come with all these accolades of winning a Super Bowl MVP, winning a regular season MVP? So
you don't because
it's the price. It's the price of doing business.
It is.
Anytime you selling real estate, anytime you're selling a car, you're worth what someone is willing to pay for you. We all can say, this is our value, or this is our appraised value, or this is what our comps are at. But you're worth what someone is willing to pay for you. And at the end of the day, I'll equate this to craps. Dak got a 6. He went around that table and he loaded up on 6 and 8s. He rode that 8. Last season, he came back with that big 6, and he picked it all up.
I think the thing is, and for me, I agree with you. It's the one position, quarterback is the one position that really the accolades don't matter. But I'm just saying, I think the thing is, had Dak won any of those awards, I don't think anybody's blinking an eye that he's getting $40+ million a year. I think that's the thing, because when you look at, but now I know, having played football, I understand that there are a lot of guys that made a lot of money that didn't have the accolades, the all pros and so da. But I think when people look at it, if Dak had won the Super Bowl, had Dak won an MVP, does anybody blink? Did anybody blink at Mahomes getting $45 million a year? They're like, well, hell, why did you get 50? You know what I'm saying?
Not at all. But I mean, it's like I said, it's a great deal. It's sending a great message to the other players in that locker room. There's going to be some other big time players, some players that are gonna take off in the coming years. And, they have that confidence that, once I uphold my end of the stick, that the Jones family is going to uphold their end and, going to be men of their word. And they've always been men of their word. And it didn't surprise me at all. And like I said, I'm super happy for Dak. This deal allows them to get the cap flexion that they need to go ahead and acquire the pieces that they need to build the defense up around Dak, to build the defense up for Dak. So when they go and score 30 points and throw for 500 yards, they'll have a defense that can stop a nosebleed.
Okay. So, Orlando, you played for a season in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. You practiced against Patrick Mahomes. You're obviously a friend of Dak Prescott's. So be honest, how close is Dak to Patrick Mahomes?
It's different. It's like comparing apples to oranges. And when I first got to Kansas City, I remember talking to the head trainer, Rick, and I told him, I said, it's going to be easy for this team and you guys to win a Super Bowl. And, I was hoping it was that year so I can get that accolade to add to my resume. But it was much easier because when you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, they were able to put some great pieces around him and basically have an all-star team. And then they drafted well, they developed talent well. It's going to be a little more difficult. And I think the reason why they couldn't put the franchise tag on Dak because they needed that flexion so they can go out and get these players in free agency. You got to really hit home runs in free agency. And free agency is tough because when you're not signing your own players, you're giving a ton of money to someone else that's coming from another team. And 9 times out of the 10, it's a reason why the team is letting them leave because you never, ever lose players that you want to leave. You make room for what you want to keep. And it's really tough to hand a lot of money to someone that's coming from a different organization that's not homegrown and expect them to live up to it.
Because also in free agency, this. When you sign, and I tell people this all the time, if a team signs a player in free agency, you better use him the way that you envisioned him when you saw he was doing at that other team. Skip, you saw what they did with Tom Brady? They tried to make him run that system, just throw deep, and they weren't getting the benefits of Tom Brady. They let Tom Brady put some motion in. Skip, they let him do some play action, and guess what happened?
You're still throwing deep.
But that offense did not look the same at the end of the year like it did at the beginning of the year because remember, there was no motion. There was not a whole lot of play action. So when you get a guy and you don't use him like he was being used at the location that you saw him, well, it's not his fault. If you get a guy and he rushed the passer, that's what he does. He rushed the passer, and you drop him in coverage, and at the end of the season, he only had 8 sacks. And he's like, well, when we got him, he had 16. Well, you dropped him in coverage. You didn't use him like the team that was using him where you got him from.
And that happens. That happens so frequently.
It does.
You get a guy in free agency, and then you want to add him to the mix of your team, and then it doesn't look well. I mean, look, for instance, when the Patriots signed Stephon Gilmore first, they was thinking like, man, I don't know. I don't know if this is the guy.
Yeah, because they try to play him in cover too. He a man corner.
Yeah, and then you use him in press man. You start to learn, his traits, and he turns into defensive MVP. And that's why free agency is so tricky. And that's why the teams that are the most successful teams are usually the ones that draft and develop great talent.
Okay, but back to Dak. I'm going to pin you down on this. Is Dak Prescott, in your view, a top 10 quarterback?
I don't know. A top 10 quarterback, the rankings always change. That's up and down. But what I can tell you is he's a natural born leader, and the Cowboys are much better off with him than without him. And it was the right thing. He's the right kind of guy. He does things the right way, and it was well deserved. It was the right message to send. And like I said, it didn't surprise me at all. I'm super happy for him.
Let's go the other direction. You played in Philadelphia for a little while with Carson Wentz. Is Dak Prescott better than Carson Wentz?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Thank you.
They're different. Carson's a great guy, but Dak is like I said, he's a natural born leader. I mean, it's about as much pressure playing in Dallas as there is in anywhere in the world. I compare being a Dallas Cowboy to like being a Los Angeles Laker. You're just expected to win. I mean, now for granted, basketball is a totally different situation, and one player can change a franchise for 20 years, as you've seen what Kobe Bean Bryant did, and as you've seen what LeBron James is doing right now. He's resurrected their franchise and make them a title favorite every year. But I just look forward to it. Dak is hell of a talent. He deserves it, and it's a great move for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, so gut feeling, bottom line, next year the Cowboys will go what?
I don't know about record. They're NFC East champs. I wouldn't be surprised to see them be a 12-4, 11-5 team. I still don't think that they have the right long-term coach. I think the game is past McCarthy. I think he's in over his head. I I just hope that Dak carries them like Aaron Rodgers did.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a strong. Mike McCarthy's in over his head.
Well, I told you.
Definitely in over his head.
That's Skip's
Look
guy.
at him. He's the head coach, and he's running allowing a bunch of fake punts to be called like we're playing rec league or Pop Warner.
Skip told me they had a made man. When they signed him, he said, we got us a made man.
Well, he did.
No,
he's
not
a
a made man.
long
Look at
time
his
ago in a
record.
galaxy far away, but he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you look at that. With who?
Huh?
With
Aaron
who?
Rodgers won a Super Bowl.
I can't remember who the
You do know
quarterback
the quarterback
Who was that guy?
This dude had what? Like 13 years, 14 years with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and only got to one Super Bowl. How good a coach is he?
Well, wait a second.
And he's
Aaron
been gone
Rodgers
for
is
2
all
years.
of 1 and
He's been gone
4
for 2
in
years,
NFC Championship games. You like that?
He's going to get back to another one this year, too.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Well, he's going to have to get by that guy in Tampa Bay.
Well, we got him this year.
Yeah, you got him?
Go get him this
Yeah,
year.
you're going to get him at his place this year?
Rematch. Get back.
Whole different discussion for a different day. Today is about Dak and the Cowboys. Orlando, we're going to need you back later, so don't go too far. We appreciate your insight so far. But time now, guys, for our hot topic of the day, brought to you by Burger King. $1 your way, only at Burger King. So the Cowboys were without, remember, Dak for most of last season after he suffered his ankle injury, and the defense didn't do the team any favors in his absence. Dallas had a disappointing third-place finish in the NFC East last season, but the good news is that the Cowboys are currently the clear-cut favorites to win the division according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. So, Shannon, who wins the NFC East next season?
I mean, Skip, they should be favored. The Cowboys
killing you.
Yeah, because
killing you.
Skip, the Cowboys should be favored. Because look, the Washington, we know what they represent defensively. But my thing is, can Heineke? Can he replicate? Now, I'm not saying play 16 games like he played the wild card game against Tampa, but can he give you some resemblance of that, say some consistency? Can he get you 270, 280 yards throwing the football and not make the big mistake because the defense is going to be plenty good enough? The Eagles, I'm discounting them. I've got them picked to finish at the bottom of the barrel. The Giants defense, I saw they just placed the franchise tag on Leonard Williams. He's come back. Their defense played extremely well, Skip.
It did.
Jones, does he take the next step forward without taking another step forward as far as turning the football over, fumbles and interceptions? Now, the Cowboys should be the favorite. They really should, Skip, because if you look at them, they got the quarterback. I believe they have the best quarterback in that division.
There's no doubt.
But, Skip, that defense caused me some concern. They was 28th in defense, second to last in rush defense. I'm going to – the Cowboys, they've underachieved, Skip, for 25 straight years. You know that. You know they've had teams with Tony Romo and the Wittens and the T.O.s and the great running game they had. They had DeMarcus Ware. They had some talent, and they've underachieved. But as we sit right now, because they re-signed Dak and the clarity at the quarterback position is there, I'm going to say right now, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win the division. But after the draft, things might change, and I might change my mind.
You'll try to change your mind.
I might
but
change
you'll know in your heart of hearts what's about to happen.
Let's see what the Giants do. Let's see what the Giants do in the draft. Let's see what the Washington does in the draft. And I don't care what Philly does. I just don't have any faith in them. So that's where I'm at right now.
So here's where I am. Is Dak Prescott better than Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Is he better than Jalen Hurts? I love Jalen Hurts, but Dak is just better than Jalen Hurts. Is he better than Taylor
TBD.
Heineke?
TBD.
Taylor Heineke?
TBD.
TBD what?
To be determined if he's better than Tyler Heineke.
It's Taylor.
Taylor Heineke. Well, TBD, Skip.
He's definitely better than Tyler Heineke because I don't know where he lives, but he probably doesn't live in D.C. I don't know. He's somewhere out there. But the point is, my Cowboys are going to win the NFC East next year because my Cowboys will have a top 5 offense. You know it, and I know it. I'm going to go glass half full now because I believe that Tyron Smith, who's only 30 years of age, will have a healthy season next year. And I know you're saying history would scream otherwise.
The last three Skip had been like that.
I believe Zach Martin will have a healthy year next year. He is only 30 years of age. I believe La'el Collins will come back from his hip surgery at age 27 and be La'el Collins again, a Pro Bowl right tackle.
Okay.
I believe Connor McGovern will replace Connor Williams, who's the weak link in that line. And all of a sudden, you'll be saying, wait a second, the other Connor's pretty good, because I think he's real good.
Okay.
And I believe Tyler Biadasz, the kid they drafted from Wisconsin, is going to be a serviceable, just a decent player at center that you can get by with, who will hold his own at center. And all of a sudden, I'm back in business in the offensive line. Again,
like Zeke? Is Zeke going to be running that thing for you?
Zeke. But still, you got this kid named Tony Pollard, and I've been raving about him from the start. They will split more carries. I believe that Dak getting his money will re-energize Zeke. Whatever you can get out of Zeke as the highest paid running back in pro football, you will get next year because Dak is back in the saddle. Okay. And I believe he is almost like a big brother mentor to Zeke. Zeke honors him. He admires him. He looks up to him, and he follows Dak. So with Dak back and Dak happy, I think Zeke will be happier. And whatever you can get out of him, I believe you'll have the best year you can get out of Zeke. Okay? The three receivers, you know what I think of them. They're all very good. We're going to talk about the draft. It's going to have big impact on this.
Yes.
Okay. But when I look at, is DeMarcus Lawrence overpaid? Yes, he's overpaid. Is he a Pro Bowl stud left defensive end? Yes, he is. So, again, we got Dan Quinn replacing Mike Nolan. What did I tell you after 5 games? Drop the mic?
Yeah.
I was ready to drop the other mic, too, the head coach.
Well, that guy, Dan Quinn is replacing Mike Nolan, who replaced Rod Marinelli and Chris Richard.
Okay.
So what was the defense problem under Rod Marinelli and Chris Richard?
Okay. I still say there's talent left here.
Yeah.
Randy Gregory is a football player to me. He was having impact down the stretch. Remember, they came alive and cost themselves 3 or 4 draft slots by almost winning out. They won some games late. Remember, they won Cincinnati and they won San Francisco, and it looked like they were coming alive when they went up to New York for the last game. And if my new head coach had just challenged one pass play that was clearly a drop, maybe we won that game.
You want the guy to challenge a drop, but that's the guy that's going to lead you to a Super Bowl.
I don't know. I think he is highly respected around the league, and I think he needs to have a bounce-back year with his starting quarterback.
What does Skip Bayless think of it?
I don't know yet. TBD. But
What you mean TBD? The man been coaching 15 years. And you talking about you need to...
Look what else is left on the defense. I told you Neville Gallimore, and they drafted him out of University of Oklahoma.
Yes.
He can play. Tristan Hill that they took in the second round. I think he showed flashes, then he got hurt, but he's going to be back. Jalen Smith and Wolf Hunter. I don't know. Have you not seen them make Pro Bowls before?
Yeah,
yes, you have.
But what have you seen last year?
I'm going glass half full now, because if my glass is half full, they can play. Did you see Donovan Wilson? He is a thumper at safety. They discovered him last year. He's going to be a player. Anthony Brown is a good third corner because we found Trevon Diggs. You started to like him at the end of the year.
I do like him a lot.
Okay, it's highly possible, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, that they're going to take Patrick Surtain, his teammate from the University of Alabama, and then you'd have Bama bookend corners, right?
Yes.
That would be a start on the defense.
And that's what you need, Skip, to play that defense that Dan Quinn is going to run, which is single high safety.
Okay, and I believe they will get 2 significant free agents because of the Dak deal that allows only 22.2 cap hit.
On what side of the ball are they going to take those free agents, offense or defense?
Both defense. And all of a sudden, you're saying, wait a second, not only is Dallas going to win the East, but Dallas could contend next year.
Contend with what?
Contend with you.
Dallas
and you're Dallas.
Well, how about this? They can contend on American Idol or The Masked Singer. But, so now all of a sudden they're better than Tampa. Now all of a sudden they're better than Green Bay.
No, I just think they're the kind of team. Guess what happens if you win this division? And it's a very winnable division. You get in the playoffs. And guess what? If you get a slot in the playoffs, anything can happen because you can get hot like Tampa Bay did last year.
Texas just opened up the state, so Jerry going to pack the house, so he's going to have some home field advantage.
Right. Well, hopefully by then, a lot of people will be packing the house, right? By next fall.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
But, Skip, look, I get it, Skip. I mean, I get that you're happy that Dak signed.
And I didn't mention Aldon Smith is a free agent, but I told you he was going to be a revelation last year. Our man Jay Glazer was the first to market with that one. And they will re-sign him. They're going to have enough cap space to re-sign Aldon Smith. Now I got something I can work with in the D-line.
I haven't seen you this happy since you asked Ernestine to marry you.
Well,
what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Been a couple other times.
You better hush. You better quit while you behind.
Actually, I was happier the day I met her. How about that?
That was the happiest you been? Because, I mean, I haven't seen you this happy or excited about your Cowboys in a long time.
Remember, a cloud just got lifted off this team. This was going to be a dark year. This was going to be a nightmare year.
Well, that Pigpen
Dak
cloud
playing
coming
his
back.
way right out of town.
You remember Charlie Brown, right? You know Pigpen, the little dust cloud that following?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a little cloud following you. You already know what's going to happen.
Okay.
You get excited. 25 years. It's about to be 26. About to be 26.
And you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to try to kick the Cowboys right in the tail. And guess what? Lucy is going to pull the football right out from under you. And you're going to kick air.
You know what? I can tell you, this is what's going to happen. They're going to get out, they're going to win a few games, and they're going to have a rough patch. And you're going to say, this is why Jerry was hesitant to pay Dak the $40 million. I can see it coming.
Nope.
I can see it coming. It's going to come. Just happen.
I think Dak's going to have a bounce-back big year.
I hope he does.
Pro Bowl.
Look, I kind of want you guys to go to the playoffs. Because, see, when you get ready to go to the playoffs, you get all excited. You come out here every day, and you keep your jacket on button. You like, Cowboys.
And by the way, I got to do this real quick. Speaking of Dak Prescott, no, I'm just going to show you. I want to remind everybody that Dak has played in 3 playoff games, and all 3 of them, he was really good in all 3. They lost 2 out of 3. But can we just see some plays? These are some of the signature plays from Dak Prescott. This is the first one against Green Bay. This got them back in the game. 40 yards to Dez, touchdown. That was a pretty sweet throw.
That was under pressure. Looking right down the barrel. Yeah, he did.
That'll work. Okay, that got them back, and they fought all the way back to 31-all. Here he is against Seattle and Russell Wilson.
Get him!
Was that not the play of the game on 3rd and 12? Quarterback draw. This won the game. This put them ahead 24-14 in the 4th quarter. Play of the game. That's what that guy can do. Then he snuck it in on the next play for a 1-yard touchdown. Here he is at the Coliseum against the Rams. They're down 3-0. And guess who? Amari, and he goes 30 yards for a touchdown. That's my man Dak. He's accurate, he's decisive, and he's poised in the pocket. You got to give him all that. I've never said he was Patrick Mahomes, but those are playoff plays that contributed to near wins in all 3 games.
Of those 3 games, how many did he win? Because that's why we measure. That's why we see. That's the thing I love about my restaurant.
Yep.
Only serve dubs and L's. That's it, Skip.
So guess what Dak's QBRs were? My favorite stat in pro football in those 3 playoff games. 74, 73, and 84. Those are high QBRs for 3 playoff games. So glass half full. My man Dak, if you can get him to the big games, he will play big in
No,
these
he got to get you
games.
there. We don't get you there. He get us there. And let me tell you my favorite stat, and this is how I base what I do. Those 3 games, L, dub, L. That's what he got.
You're going to have a long year next year.
No, I'm not.
Yep.
No, not.
The NFC East will be reclaimed by its rightful owner, the Dallas Cowboys.
Philly's rebuilding.
Yep.
Washington, okay, the quarterback situation, whatever their name's going to be. And the Giants. So I guess I got to put my eggs in the Giants basket.
Oh, that's the direction you're
Good luck.
going?
That's what I got to do.
No mercy.
Well, that is the mood in Dallas this morning after Dak agreed to his 4-year deal. I mean, really, that's the mood on set right now, at least one side of the table. They can now focus on the upcoming draft where they hold the 10th overall pick, and many mocks currently have them taking a defensive back. So, Shannon, now that they have their quarterback, what should Dallas do with the 10th pick?
Is that what you were doing last night?
I was.
Just before I go, when I stretched out to do like you do when you come in here and talk about the Cowboys, someone asked me, did I have on a waist trainer? And I said, no, it's for my mics and my IFB because I don't clip mine to my pants like you do. We have an IFB so we can hear a producer, and we have a mic on so we can actually talk, and you can hear us coming over. So I don't clip mine. I have a belt, so this is not a waist trainer.
I don't think you need that, Shannon. You're
but,
okay.
Skip,
You're doing it again. You're reading Twitter.
Yeah, I like to read it, Skip. Because we be going in on you. That's how I know I be busting you up.
Yep.
They tell me.
You need to get validated.
With the 10th pick, Skip, I would go defense. considering, okay, they're bringing in Dan Quinn, and I mentioned this earlier in the earlier block script. If you look at when Dan Quinn had successful, Gus Bradley's defense, that single high safety, Robert Lurk, whatever you want to call it, he had great, outstanding corners.
He did.
Had very good safeties also. Cam, Earl Thomas at the safeties, and Richard Sherman, and I forget the other guy name, Brandon Browner. Had Brandon Browner. Guys, long physical corners that could contest the football. Trayvon Diggs has great ball skills, Skip. I think he can be special. And if you look at what they covered, think about what they had to cover at Alabama. Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. Now they got Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. That's what they were going up against every day in practice, Skip. When we believe that these two guys that's coming out this year will also be first-round picks like the other two came out. So you know they're going to be battle-tested. And that's what you do. You go to Alabama, Skip, you compete. Because a lot of those skilled guys are going to be playing on the next level. So you get an opportunity to compete on a daily basis. I like Surtain at the pick. I like a defensive player. I believe I like him a little better. Now, because I believe they're going to be a run of quarterbacks early, Skip. I mean, all the quarterbacks could be off the board, maybe with the exception of Mac Jones. Yep. But I believe the top quarterbacks, the Trevor Lawrences, the Trey Lances, the Zach Wilsons, could all be off the board by the time. Not the Cowboys are going to go in that direction anyway, because clearly they re-signed Dak. Dak's going to be the long-term future. I would go quarterback. I would go cornerback.
Yep.
Cornerback first. I don't know if there's a safety. I haven't really looked at any marks lately, Skip. I don't know if a safety is rated that high.
No.
They are losing Jordan Lewis and Awuzie, Skip. If I'm not mistaken, are free agents.
Yes.
There's a possibility they can lose one or both of those guys.
Both.
So corner would be the ideal. But I could also see them, Skip. You said that you believe Tyron Smith is going to have a bounce-back season. Skip, I can see them taking a tackle, Skip, because he's 30, but that's an old 30.
Yep.
And over the last 3 years, Skip, he missed all the games last year. He missed like 5 or 6 the year before, 3 or 4 the year before that. And what we've seen, especially with those positions, that's high contact, guys don't get healthy as they progress. So for me, I would take Surtain, considering they only had 10 interceptions last year, with the 5th fewest in all the league. Skip, they got to get better on defense. They were 28th, second worst against the run. They gave up, 3-4 games, Skip, in which they gave up more than 250 and gave up a couple of games of 300.
Yep.
So they definitely need to start with the defense and go from there. I would take Surtain. If he's there, I'm taking Pat Surtain the second.
Okay, got it. Did you know his father?
I did. I played against his father.
That's what I thought. Okay, so that's what he's got going for him. His father could really play.
When he was with the Dolphins, Pat Surtain and Sam Madison, and actually had T-Buck. They had 3 corners.
They had 3 corners. Okay, my turn. First of all, I feared until last night when the story broke that Dallas was going to have to try to figure out how to go up and get one of those quarterbacks. Because if Dak was going to play his way out of town and you were going to get nothing in return, you better have a kid quarterback waiting in the wings ready to go. And they don't have anybody else on their roster that I would trust to go forward with, right? So I was thinking, is Jerry going to have to try to move up a slot or two to get Mac Jones, to take Trey Lance? I don't know. But I was juggling that in my head, not loving the prospect of it, because they don't have a lot of other draft capital, and it was going to really handicap trying to fix the defense.
Right.
Okay, so now they sit at 10, and quarterback is obviously no longer a need.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out. This is the CeeDee Lamb Memorial strategy here. If one player happens to fall to 10 who plays offense, I'm going to be all in to take that player the way I was about CD last year when everybody said defense, defense, defense. And I said, no, he's too good. At that slot where he fell out of heaven into your lap. And I'm still loving the fact they took CeeDee Lamb.
So, hold on. If a Devontae Smith is on the board at 10.
I'm going to go one better. I got one better. Kyle Pitts from Florida is an absolute monster. Kyle Pitts won the Mackey Award, the tight end award, and he was a finalist for the first ever, quote-unquote, tight end to be a finalist for the Biletnikoff Receiver Award. And he probably could have or should have, except for Devontae, won that one.
Right. And I think he got some Heisman votes.
Kyle Pitts is 6'6", 250. Excuse me, 6'6", 250.
A good kid.
He's a good kid. He didn't finish there. He had a concussion, which scares me a little bit at the end of the year, and then opted not to play in Florida's bowl game. But he has a little bit, to me, when I've watched him, he has leaped off my screen because he's got a little Calvin Johnson going on because he's just that big and that fast and that strong, where you just can't physically match up with him.
And the last time you saw him, Skip, you saw him in the SEC title game against Alabama, and you saw what he did.
Well, they just couldn't cover him.
No, nobody could cover him.
Nobody can cover him. So, look, it's I think Kuiper's got it. No, it's McShay's got him 4th to the Jets, and Kuiper's got him 6th to the Eagles. And it would scare me if the Eagles got Kyle Pitts. He's also the kind of player you could talk yourself out of depending on how much you fall in love with Devontae Smith.
Right.
Or Jamar Chase, who's a stud receiver, or Jalen Waddle, who can just flat out fly. Okay, I know he's coming off an injury, but he can fly.
Right. And I think, Skip, probably by the time training camp rolls around, he will be 100%. Considering that, Skip, he was out there, 4 months after he had the ankle worked on. Okay. So that'll be another 7-8 months removed from that. He should be a full go.
Okay, so I don't disagree with your conventional wisdom about, well, God, that corner's just sitting there staring you in the face. You got to take him.
Yeah.
If Kyle Pitts somehow falls the way CD did to 10, I am taking him and not looking back. That would require me possibly to maybe try to shop Michael Gallup to see if you can get something quickly for him. Mm-hmm. You might have to give him away if they know you're trying to give him away, right? Or you need to give him away.
Yeah, you could do that, Skip, or you could. I don't see Kyle Pitts last in the 10. Either somebody in the top that's going to take him, or I can see somebody moving up. He's that kind of talent.
He probably is, because to my eye, he might be better than several of these quarterbacks who are going to go up above 10, because I think all 5 of the quarterbacks will go above Dallas.
Yeah, Skip, and remember that big run of tight ends they had? They had O.J. Howard, they had Evan Ingram.
Yep.
He's better than all of them.
He's better than all of them. He might prove to be better than everybody at the quarterback position except for Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
He might be more valuable, have more impact when you say, well, that guy's better than these quarterbacks who became just another guy.
And he can fill out, Skip. He's 6'6", 240-ish, 235-ish.
He probably needs to get... I think he was 248 when they measured. I think he's 250-ish.
Yeah, he needs to be 250, 250. He needs to be like a Kelsey. Okay. With that kind of height.
Yep.
Because Skip, he's fluid. He can drop his hips. And that's the thing that I look for. People are like, what do you look for when I look at a tight end? Can he drop his hips? I need to be able to see him sink his hip and get in and out of breaks. Because the guy that can transition, those are the guys that can win on a consistent basis.
Okay, so look, Blake Jarwin, I know Dak loves him. He loves Dak.
He ain't that kid, Skip.
He's just not this guy. Remember, he got hurt against the Rams out here in the grand opening of the new stadium, and he was gone for the whole year from game 1 on. So, again, if you have a shot at Kyle Pitts, then you strengthen your strength. You just say, well, he's just too good. We got to take him. Right. Okay. Again, their offensive lineman, that Penei Sewell from Oregon, and I don't know much about him except because I don't watch offensive linemen, but they say he's a perennial Pro Bowl.
Hold on. I saw somebody in a mock draft, maybe it was Mel Kiper, said he's really the only guy that's probably a lock to be a Hall of Famer in this draft.
All right. Well, he may be. And so, again, if he fell, you'd have to think hard about that. And that Rashawn Slater, who opted out last year at Northwestern, again, I can't grade offensive linemen, but they say he's up in the mix up here.
Right.
So you would have to think about those to your point. But obviously, Patrick Surtain, his father, wasn't just a player. He was a really good player and a really smart player who is now coaching. Mm-hmm. And he coached his son to play that position the way you have to play that position.
If you watch his son play, Skip.
Yes.
You watch how fluid he is. You watch how he can turn, he can backpedal, he can transition, open his hips, he can drive on the ball. He's very good. And in order for him to do this at such a young age, he had to have extreme coaching at an even younger age. Mm-hmm. For him to play the way he plays, he's almost like NFL sound. Now, there's some little technique things that he's going to have to pick up along the way. But if you just watch him, and like I said, I haven't looking at him on tape, but I just watch him on television, and I just watch how fluid and how he moves.
Yep.
Now, he needs to get a little better job at tracking the ball. Now, I believe Diggs is better at tracking the ball. But as far as technique, being able to put his hands, knowing when to open up, knowing when to drive, he's better than Diggs in that aspect.
6'2", 202. So he's long and he is strong.
He's prototypical, Skip.
And listen, from what I watched against with Bama, and I watched a bunch of Bama games, he will play the run. Mm-hmm. He will stick his nose in. So you don't have to worry about that side. And I found him to be an explosive leader at the point of contact where if he's got a shot, he will go up and get it on you.
Yes.
So he's got a little bit of Jalen Ramsey going on where he could achieve that sort of plateau.
You like those big corners. And go back to big corners. I'm thinking Mel Blount. Mel's like 6'3", 6'4". I'm looking at Mike Haynes, Jalen Ramsey. Time wasn't 6'2". He's like 6.5", 6'1". But you want those corner skip that's physical to challenge these big receivers.
Deion Sanders was way stronger than people gave him credit. He was just naturally gifted strong.
I think people forgot that Time was left-handed. And so they would always play right into his hand. He had that wide base. He frees you, and the next day you know. But he was never really worried about anybody beating him deep, Skip.
No.
So he could be physical because if you got off the line of scrimmage, so what, he just going to run you down.
So I don't not love the idea of Patrick Surtain and Trevon Diggs. I mean, if you got the two Bama bookends, you're good to go.
And to play in that defense, Skip, if you want to play that style of defense, because think about it, Skip, they was 28th in points allowed.
Okay.
Second in rushing yards allowed. Skip, you got to get better on that side of the ball. Okay. It doesn't matter. Because think about the games that Dak threw for all those yards and had all those yards, Skip, and you were losing. Remember the game against Green Bay? You said he came back. What happened? The defense still let Aaron Rodgers get in field goal range.
They did.
They still let Jared Goff get that third down. You got to be able to get off the field and give the ball back to your defense.
Right. So in the end, it also could come down to two Alabama players, Patrick Surtain and Devontae Smith could still be sitting there. Well, in that case, I love Devontae. We talked about how he dominated.
You can't take another receiver,
but you can't. You can't take another receiver. Kyle Pitts is in another stratosphere.
Right, you can justify taking Kyle Pitts at the tight end position because he might be a once in a 10-year type tight end. You can justify that. But when you got Amari, you just paid a lot of money to. You just took CeeDee Lamb with the first pick. Michael Gallup just went with 1,100 yards. I don't know if you can justify that considering all the needs that you have, especially at the cornerback position. Take a corner. If there's a high-rated safety, I don't know if there's any high-rated safety, but maybe an offensive lineman, Skip, because you're getting a little long in the tooth up there, Skip.
But we still got 2 good years left.
You got 2 good years left?
Maybe a Super Bowl year.
Oh, my goodness. See, there you go. See, we can't even have a good conversation because we have a good conversation and you start talking about Super Bowl.
It's a good day.
It ruined it.
It's a good day. Before we talk about the Super Bowl. And remember, this is the first time the Cowboys are drafting in the top 10 since taking Zeke, in 2016. So.
And y'all already back in the top 10?
They're already back.
No mercy. Prescott going for it. Oh, off for the touchdown. Talk about threading the needle. My goodness. Prescott on the keeper walks in. Prescott going to carry. Reach. Flip. Prescott did it himself. That's a great job by Prescott going and getting it.
Feels good. It finally happened. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have agreed on a deal that keeps the quarterback in Dallas for 4 years. The new contract is reportedly worth $160 million with $126 guaranteed to go along with a record $66 million signing bonus. The first year, Dak's cap hit will be just over $22 million. So, Skip, in your opinion, who won the deal, Jerry or Dak?
Shannon Sharpe, before I answer that question, I want to pull this out of mothballs here and shake some of the cobwebs. It's got a lot of cobwebs on it because it was a long, hard year.
You know you brought this jersey out every segment, right? You know you've had that jersey every segment. I was like, why you keep bringing this jersey out?
Get the cobwebs off. And then in the end...
Let me hold it right quick.
Thank you. No, you'll throw it. It will never be the same. It's going to go right here on its perch. And it will be worn in celebration many times next year.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't think so.
To answer Jenny's question, Jerry Jones won because my Dallas Cowboys won, and he is the owner and the operator of my Dallas Cowboys. And all I care about is that Dak Prescott has to be very, very happy with this deal.
Very.
My locker room has to be very, very happy with this deal. And I am very, very happy because in a shock of shocks, last evening, number one, they got the deal done when neither of us thought they had any way of avoiding a second franchise tag by 4 Eastern today. And number two, when I finally saw what the cap hit was, I fell off my chair with joy. I rolled on the floor. Hazel thought I was out of my mind because I said, he's only going to count $22.2 million against this coming year's salary cap, which is reduced all the way to $185 million because of the pandemic. 22.2. You realize as of 4 Eastern today, he was about to count 37.7 against the cap. So Jerry saved $15.5 million with the structure of this deal, which starts with the voidable years. Well, I thought they'd go here, but for some reason there was conflict. It was bordering on chaos over how was the deal going to be structured. 5 years, 4 years, or 6 years with 2 voidable. Well, somehow in the 11th hour last night, they said, okay, we'll take the voidable years. So all of a sudden, Dak's going to make $75 million in his first year and count only 22.2 against the cap in a year in which all the premium free agents are going to be in the business of just give me 1 year because I need to hit the lottery next year when your cap explodes with the new TV deal out of the pandemic, right? So again, I think they can now add 2 significant free agents. And wait a second, Dak only counts 22.2. So that means that you can go down the line. Aldon Smith, I told you, he's a key piece. I think you can re-sign him. There might be another key piece down the line that I'm overlooking right now. Maybe it's Awuzie, maybe it's Jordan Lewis. I don't know. Somebody else you might be able to keep because he counts only 22.2 million. Jerry also has that clause, which is called the automatic conversion clause, in which at any point in the contract, he can escalate money into signing bonus. So you can then prorate it backwards. You can divvy it up backwards to reduce his cap hit. They're going to go up heavily. Next year, this is 2022, it's 33 million. Then the next year, it's 44 million cap hit. 47 million in the 4th year. But still, you could restructure enough to lessen the blow of those cap hits.
That might not be necessary considering the cap is going to go way exponentially. Up. So, Skip, that might be a moot point at this point.
Okay.
But
just remember, bottom line to this, if he was going to count 37.7, that's 20% of your cap. It's hard to win with that kind of a cap hit with one player at quarterback.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? If you said he won this year and paying $40 million, what you have said last year if he was going to pay 35, 36. So what
would
it was
actually 2 years ago.
Yeah. Last year before the franchise tag. So if he had taken what they had offered, the 35, 36 million.
Okay.
What was his cap number going to be then?
It was 31 point.
No, I'm saying the franchise tag made it his cap number. If he had taken Jerry's deal, which was 5 years, at $35 million a year.
I think it was 36.
Okay,
I don't know.
So we will give him 36.
If you could do the voidable years on the back, I don't know, would it reduced it to 18, 17?
Exactly.
Something?
So now he has a $22 million cap here. So basically, in 1 year time, Dak Prescott got a 15% raise because he went from 35, 36 million all the way up to 40 million. Now, guess what? I get 75 year one, Skip. All I care about is money in my bank account.
Okay, good.
You can worry about the cap. In 16 months, Dak made $106 million minus the 8-9% state income tax. Dak's sitting pretty, Skip. So even if you get to the board, even if you want to say, you know what, Dak, we want to convert that $35 million in 2023, and we want to do that into a signing bonus. Go ahead. I don't mind you taking the salary that I'm going to have to work for over and just go ahead and give it to me right now. I'm not going to fight you about it.
Okay.
You can't say Jerry won because Jerry gets an opportunity to take Dak money that he's going to earn and give it to him in a signing bonus. He has a no trade. He has a no tag clause. And the deal after 4 years lets him be totally free when the new TV money kicks in.
Okay. But what was the report from Jane Slater, who's going to join us here in a few minutes on the show?
Yes.
He wants close to Patrick Mahomes. And I'm thinking the deal's going to average up around $44 million.
No.
Well, it's barely 40 for 4 years.
I was telling
I'll take that.
But I told you it was going to be $40 million. I'd say 4 years, 160.
Yeah, but you were thinking up above 40.
No, Skip. He needed to get more than what Deshaun got.
Okay, so he barely got more than Deshaun, and he barely got more signing bonus than Russell got, Russell Wilson.
But Russell, think about what Russell had done. Russell had gone to a Super Bowl, won it, went to another one.
Okay.
So Russell and he got more than that. How close has Dak come to winning a Super Bowl? Not close at all.
No.
And he got more money than anybody in the history of the game at the time of signing. $75 million. Skip, of the 126, $95 million of it is fully guaranteed.
Okay, yet you keep telling me that within weeks, this thing might be a thing of the past. It might get dwarfed by new deals of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
But Skip, you can't worry about that. All I want to do is give me the money that I think I'm deserving. I said I need 40. I'm not going to go 39. I'm not going to go 37, 38. Give me 40 and let whatever guys, if they get 46, they get 50. Because guess what? You're going to have to come see me again in 3 years. Maybe even before that, because like you said, they got the deportable year. Skip, you can say, hold on, Dak, let's do this. Let's just go ahead and give you another deal, tack on another 4 years to this. It's another 6-year deal, and Dak's going to be happy.
As long as he's won a Super Bowl by then, I'm good with that.
So I think the thing is, for me, Skip, I look at it as Dak won because they were offering 36 last year. He holds firm, gets a 10% raise, 15% raise, coming off a broken ankle, $66 million. So Dak's about to walk in. I don't know if they'll let him. Well, in Texas, you can go in now, Skip. Everything's open up in Texas now. So Jared's about to go to, what they call it? Is it Cowboy Park place? Whatever they call it, Skip. He's about to go in there. He probably bought him a new pen to sign because he go, write that name real nice and fancy. 60, and Jerry's going to slide him a check. $66 million minus the federal tax income tax.
And what do I care about? As much as I'm the biggest Dak Prescott fan, but I've told you all along, I'm a much bigger Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yes.
Does my team, despite this deal, have a chance to win next year?
Yes.
You better believe
Yes.
it. Would you believe that Dak Prescott counts only the 21st highest cap hit going into next year?
That's how you said because Dak only counts 20, even though he's the second highest paid player, you're looking at it because Jerry only has to pay $22 million. His cap hit is only $22 million. We've never measured by how someone won or lost a deal by the cap number.
Okay,
we look at the total dollars.
I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm a realist. I just want to know, do I have a chance to make my team better? Yes, I do.
Dak cares about.
Okay, remember, he's going to have the 13th highest quarterback cap hit next year. That's outrageous. Wait a second. That's like magic trick. If you're making $75 million next year, including your signing bonus, and you count only 22 of it against the salary cap, how is that possible?
Skip, what you're saying. That's like a guy is the second richest man in the world, but he only makes the 13th most money in the world per year. What difference does it make? Dak Prescott is the second.
The world doesn't have a salary cap.
But I'm saying, Skip, for you to say Dak, because he's going to have the 13th highest cap hit, he's the second highest paid player in NFL history.
I only care about whether my team can win in spite of this contract, and yes, it can.
Skip.
Okay, I keep looking at this and I say, wait a second. Fletcher Cox has a higher cap hit next year.
Fletcher Cox is in the fourth year of that deal. Where is Dak number
Frank
4?
Clark has a higher cap hit next year than Dak Prescott.
He's in the third year of the deal.
Von Miller, wherever he is.
He's in the fifth year of the deal.
All right, but they're going to hurt their teams more against their cap than Dak Prescott.
Okay, let me ask you a question. At the time they signed their deals, what was Fletcher Cox's cap hit? What was Von Miller's cap hit? What was this guy, Frank Clark's cap hit? So if we're going to look at it like that, you got to go back and look at when they signed the deal, what was their cap hit?
I don't really care.
But that's my point, Skip.
I'm just trying to put this in perspective. Wait a second. You make $75 million next year, and you only have the 21st biggest cap hit.
Skip, what does that got to do with anything?
It has everything to do with everything because it's going to make you sick next year.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Is Dak Prescott getting $75 million this year or $22 million?
Well, obviously 75.
Okay, so I don't care about the cap.
Wait, help me out. Is Dak happy right now?
Yes!
Yes! Is he back in the saddle? Yes! Is my locker room just on fire with this? Yes. Is my team going to win the East? Yes, they're going to win the East. Could my team get hot at the end of the year and be a contender for the Super? Yes, it could. Yes.
No, that was one too many yeses.
No.
You was good. You was good at like 3 yeses, and then you went to that fourth when you talk about get hot and get 10.
I am horrifying you.
No.
Yes.
No. Dak Prescott got everything he wanted. 126 guaranteed, 95 million fully. No trade, no tag. Dak Prescott win. All he does is win, no matter what.
No mercy.
Now that Dak Prescott is locked up to a 4-year deal, the Cowboys' main focus can shift to fixing their defense. Last season, the Cowboys gave up 34 passing touchdowns, which tied for the third worst last season. Their coverage defense also ranked 27th in the league, according to Pro Football Focus, and they finished second to last in rushing yards allowed. Former Cowboys cornerback Orlando Scandrick is back with us. So, Orlando, I want to start with you. How far away is Dallas from having a Super Bowl caliber defense?
I'm looking at the glass half full instead of half empty. I think they got some pieces. Leighton Vander Esch is a good linebacker. I think he'll be a better linebacker when they get back into 4-3. They got a bright spot in Trevon Diggs and Melvin Gallimore as the two young draft picks, but I think they're a ways away. I know everybody's excited about Dan Quinn, but Dan Quinn was hired to be a defensive guy. He went through 3 defensive coordinators in Atlanta, and their defense hasn't looked strong at all. But look at the bright side. It's the offseason, and everybody has hope. And I know we all, as football fans and Cowboy fans, we see Surtain, and I think Surtain is going to be a hell of a player in this league. But I just don't think that that's the right draft pick. I think that, you signed your quarterback. I think you have a dynamic offense, and you expect to play with leads. So when you play with leads, what's the easiest way to protect those leads? Is just get some more guys up front to get after the quarterback. And, obviously they have an established pass rusher that's a dominant guy and a top 10 pass rusher in the league in DeMarcus Lawrence. I would just like to see them get, book in somebody that can be dominant, that can allow Randy Gregory to continue to progress, but not put so much pressure on him, or get a dominant defensive tackle that can, be a Aaron Donald type. I know Aaron Donald's a generational player, but you want to get that type of player. And, pass rush is rules the world. Look at Tampa Bay. They got after everyone in the playoffs, and that defense came alive and it forced turnovers. And I just think it would be a lot to, have 2 young cornerbacks and not a sufficient pass rush.
You use the term glass half full. Skip used the term glass half full. I just want to know what's in that glass. Because if it's milk, okay, there's a possibility. If it's Coca-Cola Mountain Dew, there's a possibility. But what if it's antifreeze? What if it's arsenic? What if it's cyanide? You still as optimistic if the glass is half full? Hell no. So let me ask you, keep telling me these big name guys, DeMarcus Lawrence, Jalen Smith, Wolfhorn, tell me the time that you said, you know what, DeMarcus Lawrence, the last year you said DeMarcus Lawrence played like a $20 million guy. I'll wait.
DeMarcus Lawrence towards the end of the year last year, you even jumped on the bandwagon yourself.
The dude had 5 sacks. I'm paying $20 million for 5 sacks.
His effect on the game is ridiculous. And you look at DeMarcus Ware's last year in Dallas. He didn't produce in sacks. You went and you put him over there.
What did they do?
Oh, no. They gave him a chance. He wanted to go be somewhere.
He ended up in Dallas. He ended up in Denver. They cut him.
100%. No. I absolutely. But that's because there was people like you in the building saying, "Oh, he don't got it no more. What is he doing?" And he made him eat them words.
No,
he ate them.
I'm saying, if he has it, he has to show. You got to pay. You got to, for the production that they're paying, you got to give them production for what they're paying you. Jalen Smith, you keep mentioning Tampa. So I want to know who's Levante David and who's Devin White for the Dallas Cowboys. Since you mentioned Tampa, tell me which one.
But Levante David and Devin White are hell of a players. But I'm looking more so who's JPP, who's Shaq Barrett.
Well,
who? DeMarcus Lawrence is every bit as good as Shaq Barrett. Every bit as if you swap Tampa Bay would swap those two out at $22 million in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I guarantee you, Tampa would not trade DeMarcus Lawrence for Shaq Barrett if they could.
At $22 million in a heartbeat.
No way, because Shaq Barrett plays both. He does both. D-Law is good at the run, but if you said D-Law is the same guy this year as he was the 2 years until leading up to that contract, you fooling yourself. You fooling yourself.
If I asked you if I signed you to host Undisputed and then I turned around and asked you to host the betting show, you'd be terrible too. They signed that guy to be a 4-3 defensive lineman. And then they want to have him stand up.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. They fired Chris Richard and Rod Marinelli. Can you tell the people at home what defense did Chris Richard run and what defense does Dan Quinn run?
Chris Richard is basically a Dan Quinn disciple.
So he's going to run the same defense, right?
To a degree, yes.
Okay, so what kind of production did D-Law give you in Chris Richard's defense?
We'll see 2018.
Let's go back. Let's go back a step further.
Okay.
That's all we getting ahead of ourselves. Dan Quinn was running Gus Bradley's defense, correct?
That is correct.
Gus Bradley was running Rod Marinelli and Monty Kiffin's defense, correct? Correct.
See,
since we want to go get the book out and do some history.
I don't really want to go back that far because we're gonna lose the people. Because I think Monty and Rod's defense is a lot. That cover two, I think it's a little different than the single high safety. I see what you're saying because they run the middle linebacker to the middle of the field. It makes it look like cover three.
But wait. When my last few years that I was there and we had DeMarcus and DeMarcus was ascending in his production, we ran some cover too. Yeah. But on rundowns, we're single high one gap team.
Yeah.
They bring in, Mike Nolan, who can't tell his
I know what you're saying.
Behind from his elbow, and then they have a shortened a pandemic season. And I'm not making excuses for any stretch of the means, but Demarcus Lawrence is a capable and he is a hell of a player, and I'm not gonna write him off.
I need to put it down.
Some dominant times. He had some dominant times last year, and I'm gonna put it here. He's gonna have double-digit sacks this season.
I don't need
double-digit sacks.
Agreed.
28th in scoring, Skip. Y'all was 31st in run D, Skip. Y'all was 26th on third down, Skip. 23rd in yards per play. 20th in sacks, and had the 5th fewest interceptions. But you're going to go to the Super Bowl. That's a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Oh, see, now you paint the narrative because the Eagles is going to be one of the worst teams in the league, so you're upset.
That's fact.
That's the narrative you want to paint. You want to talk about last year. We're talking about now what you asked me what they should do in the draft. I said get some more pass rush, get some more capable and willing people, on the defense, and allow DeMarcus Lawrence to be DeMarcus Lawrence.
Okay, you lost me on one count. You said Patrick Surtain is not the pick at 10th, even though he's the top corner in the draft to me and would be a great bookend to Trevon Diggs. But you said no, you need another pass rusher, right?
Go get you some cereal without no milk and see how it tastes.
Okay, so I don't know where to go at 10 because that Micah Parsons was at Penn State and he opted out last year, and I saw he flashed to me a little bit, but I just don't know if he's dominating. I don't think he's as good as DeMarcus Lawrence is. I don't know that there's anybody who is worthy of the 10th pick that can do what you say.
Is Patrick Surtain Darrelle Revis?
No, but you don't need to do.
I don't think like playing defensive back and the lumps that you take as a young player, I don't think that without being able to rush the passer, you can be successful in this league.
But you got DeMarcus Lawrence, so you should be able to rush the passer. Remember,
that's one pass rusher.
Okay,
the Broncos had Von Miller for a long time, and just Von Miller. And how was that?
Okay, but you played with Randy Gregory, right? You think he's come back alive?
I ain't ready to push my chips in on a guy that's been suspended 6 times.
But still, he made it through last year, and at the end of the year, he was popping off my screen, man, because he can fly off that edge.
Why are we all against getting some more upfront players? Why are we all against being dominant up front? If you look at the teams that were dominant defensively, they were dominant up front. The Seahawks, dominant up front.
Okay.
Tampa, dominant up front.
All right, but there is this thing called free agency, and they are going to have big cap space because Dak is only going to count 22.2. By the way, DeMarcus Lawrence counts more against the cap next year than Dak does.
But Skip, y'all been terrible in free agency. Y'all signed Gerald McCoy. He got hurt.
But that wasn't a terrible move. He just got hurt.
Okay, what about Dontari Poe?
Okay.
What about HaHa Clinton Dix?
I thought that was a good move. I don't know what happened.
They cut him before they got to training camp. Then they traded Everson Griffin.
I don't know why, because I thought he was pretty good.
They signed these guys, but they cut him before the season even started.
Remember what happened? It was absolute mutiny against Mike Nolan, and Jerry finally said, I got to clean out the mutineers. I got to just wipe them out. He cut every free agent he had signed. He wiped out the locker room because they were about to storm the castle and say, we can't play for this guy.
But this is my thing, though. Why not try to find a great pass rusher or a great interior player or just somebody in your front seven and allocate some of that money towards Patrick Peterson or a guy like that?
Maybe.
A proven guy. I'm not a big proponent. Everybody ain't going to switch teams like Sharpe and still have the same drive. It takes somebody with special character like that. And I've done a lot of research on Shannon. I was younger when he was playing, but I know he was dominant. But when he went over to the Ravens, he came in with a selfless mentality and he just wanted to win. And that's why he turned out to be what he turned out to be. And I know I might feel like I'm like gloating him, but he just comes from like a special bloodline. You see what his brother was, you see his work ethic, you see the way he comes about and the way he works every day on the show. And everybody's not going to be like that. You're going to get some guys that are going to come in free agency and just, get the money and get paid and get laid. They're done. They're checked out.
So in other words, you would like the Dallas Cowboys, if Shaq Barrett's available, you like them to make a run at Shaq Barrett?
I mean, you make a run at pass rushers, yeah, but I'm not a big proponent in paying top dollar with somebody. Like, I really believe after spending over a decade in the league that the teams that are successful are the teams that draft and develop talent well. I'm a firm believer, if you sign a big time free agent, you better use him like he was used where he was. A lot of times they get guys, and the guy is a cover two safety, and you a cover two corner, and you try to put him in man like the Cowboys. Cowboys was a coverage team, and then he goes to Oakland. Larry Brown goes to Oakland. They play man, and he's out of the league in a year because that's not what he was in Dallas. I mean, we had a similar instance. A good friend of mine is Brandon Carr. Brandon Carr comes over from the Kansas City Chiefs. He gets top dollar, and then we start playing cover two. It was an adjustment for him. And I remember just sitting in meetings with him and just talking to him. And, it was totally different from what he was doing. But once we got back to doing what he was paid to do, he turned out to be a much, much better player. He turned out to be a bargain at the end.
No mercy.
After nearly being franchise tagged for a second year in a row, Dak Prescott has agreed to a 4-year, $160 million deal with the Cowboys. Both sides always publicly stated they wanted it to work, but it wasn't until yesterday that they were able to find a middle ground. NFL Network reporter Jane Slater is joining us now. Jane, it's so great to have you. You have been all over this for months now. What was the turning point in negotiations?
For 2 years now, Jenny, I'm not sure who was more excited about the news yesterday, Dak or myself. Although I would submit that last week is when I felt like this thing was beginning to turn a little bit. When I reached out, it was my understanding that the two sides were talking. And when I looked back to my reports last year, they weren't. So that was meaningful. And then when I was told that Dak Prescott was working out of the facility nearly every day, that says to me, well, the relationship's not that contentious, because he can rehab somewhere else. So it felt like it was moving in a positive direction. Again, when I was asking people to characterize how this go around of talks was, it feels better. But it was my understanding that things really started to move yesterday, and then the deal got done around 4-ish. But, when I'm looking at this, and again, this hasn't been filed officially, it's going to go in as a 6-year deal just so that they can spread out the signing bonus money. It's actually a 4-year deal with the 2 final years voided. Dak won, and so did Todd France. Todd France is not the easiest to deal with. A lot of reporters will tell you that. A lot of teams that have dealt with his clients will tell you that. But let's put a little respect on his name. He got his client paid. And when you look at what Dak Prescott was making, let's talk about 2016 to 2019, $2.7 million. His average salary was $680,000. Of course, he had the $31.4 million franchise tag last year. As one agent described it to me, yeah, the Cowboys could have gambled next year and allowed him to hit the open market. And I had pulled some GMs and coaches about what his market value was. They didn't view him as a 1 through 5 guy, a 6 through 10 guy. But I was told the Cowboys are always going to view their guys higher. So Todd France gambled on that. Jerry has told us things in the past that I've reported on your show. Remember Zeke? Zeke doesn't deserve the money that Todd Gurley got because Todd Gurley didn't deserve that money. We're not paying Dak, Jared Goff, and Russell Wilson money. We're putting him somewhere in the middle. We've seen with Zeke and DeMarcus Lawrence, Jerry ultimately ends up paying. And I never got the sense that they wanted this guy who's 42 and 27, who literally has started every game with the exception of last year. His passer rating, his fourth quarter stats, they know how hard it's been in years past to find a franchise guy. They've got it. I didn't get the sense they were really going to let this one fall through the cracks this time around, although they definitely overspent because they could have gotten this thing done 2 years ago at $30 million when we all scoffed at that.
Go ahead, Skip. I don't even want to take it. JJ, you did a great job. Go ahead, Skip.
So, Jane, let's take it back to September of 2019. After game number 1 at Jerry World, Jerry was asked about the Dak negotiations because Zeke had just signed. And remember the word Jerry used? It was imminent that Dak was going to sign. And somebody said imminent as in what? And he said days. So we expected the next 2-3 days the deal would get announced. What do you think derailed it and created the bad blood at that point?
It's hard to say. All I can say is that Todd France has proven to be a worthy adversary in negotiations. And it was my understanding at times there were things that were getting thrown in. I know there were things that were getting thrown in at the deadline last year. Remember, I'd reported that Dak had gotten on the phone and they were talking to Stephen Jones and Todd France was involved and they couldn't get this thing done in time. And so he played on the franchise tag. And then the worst possible thing happened to Dak. He got injured. A lot of us wondered if that was ultimately going to work against Dak, if that was going to hurt his leverage. But this tells you they're not worried about that ankle. And the fact that he's working out every day, it's not like they haven't been able to monitor it or have insight on that. On that second surgery that he had, I was told it was about 2 weeks left to go in the season. The Cowboys were fully apprised of what went on with that. And so it's my sense that if they're willing to put this much guaranteed money on the table, they were willing to give him the 4-year deal that he was looking for, which ultimately means he can come to the table at about 3 years and try to renegotiate this thing. He absolutely won on all fronts. He stared Jerry Jones down, the Jones family for that matter, and he won. So credit to him for betting on himself. It's something he's done his whole career, and it paid off here.
Yet, Jane, he counts only $22.2 million against next year's cap. So somehow Jerry finagled $75 million that he will make next year into only a 22.2 cap hit, which ranks 21st in the entire NFL, which is pretty shockingly great for the team itself going into next year.
Well, and again, when I reported last week, the thing that was going to make this deal happen was the two sides were going to have to give something. And so in Dak Prescott's case, of course, he didn't get the shorter deal that he wanted, but he actually does. If you look at the way that they're describing this, and again, that thing hasn't actually been filed yet, so we haven't looked at the structure, and this is what's just been reported out there. And then, of course, Dak Prescott got the respect that he deserved. He's getting to say he is now the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. When you look at the guaranteed and the signing bonus, that's a big win for Todd France when he represents other quarterbacks in negotiations moving forward. And we talked about that number was important to him, that it was going to be somewhere behind Patrick Mahomes. And again, we're not saying he thought he deserved that Patrick Mahomes APY, but it needed to be over Deshaun Watson. That's just what the market value was. And this also tells me that Jerry has to have some indication of where this cap is going. And maybe in his mind, he's making a little bit of some savings here, knowing where that could go. And you, again, allowing Dak Prescott, who will be about 31 at the time, to go out there and reset the market and bet on himself again. So it's hard to say that either side lost here, although you could argue the Cowboys did by not getting this thing done 2 years ago.
Okay, but how active do you expect this team to be as free agency hits coming up within the week here?
I expect them to be very frugal shoppers. Now, look, in the past, they haven't exactly been active in free agency. They brought in a lot of free agents last year, and I had reported that it just felt like the pH balance was off as a result of bringing in some of the outsiders. They've always done better with more of the homegrown talent. I expect that they're going to address some needs. And in other words, they'll go out and probably address the safety position, but it's probably going to be a guy that's been in the league about 5 years that can bring in some veteran leadership, but he's going to sign a veteran minimum deal. They're not going to be big shoppers in free agency, but they never really have been.
Jay,
you going to ask a question or not?
Because I'm over here gloating because I've tried to tell Skip. Skip is trying to play this as, well, he's only going to count $22 million.
I'm not trying to play it. It's the fact. There's no playing to it.
Jane,
he's the 21st cap hit in the league.
Jane, you see where I'm going with this? The man gets $75 million. He's going to make
I don't care how much he gets.
No, you ask. Go ahead. Go ahead, Skip. Go ahead, Jane. Go ahead. No,
because you're throwing it back at me. Don't throw it at me.
To address both your points, though, look, with the Cowboys, you've got to ask yourself, what was the most important thing in these negotiations? And I've said it. Flexibility for structuring for the Cowboys. That's what they needed to make sure they weren't in cap hell. And Dak, I think, and again, I don't know this. I've tried talking to Dak and his side. They've played their cards pretty close to the vest. But I've got to get the sense that it's respect, right? His own teammates said, this is a guy we want paid. This is a guy we ride for. And if you just looked at how many quarterbacks they went through last year and how well that worked out for them, you didn't get the sense there was a lot of confidence in guys like Ben DiNucci, Andy Dalton,
Garrett
Gilbert. And then when we look at the quarterbacks they've had in the past, and so Dak Prescott, and I said this from the jump, I joined the NFL Network his rookie season when he was a compensatory pick in the 4th round behind Jamil Showers. Kellen Moore got injured. Tony Romo got injured. Tony Romo didn't even get a chance to compete because that's how hard the guys in the locker room rode for him. I think that's important. That's good context. It also, I think, had a lot to do why we saw this locker room fall apart last year. And so this gives Mike McCarthy also a meaningful opportunity to show you how successful he can be. You can also get Dak Prescott participating in your OTAs and in the quarterback room. I think this was a win-win for everybody, but most notably, Todd France and Dak Prescott.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say a guy lost when he gets $75 million in year one. He made $106 million in 16 months, and he gets $95 million of the $126 million fully guaranteed. And when the new TV money kicks in, he'll get an opportunity to get another bigger bite of the apple. It's hard to see a scenario, Jane, in which he lost. And as we mentioned, had he given Dak's contract before he did Zeke's, he could have got Dak for $32 million. See, when you go and ask a guy to sign, you got to make him an offer he can't refuse. Jerry made Dak an offer last year he could refuse because he had no years left on his contract. You're looking at Jerry Goff, you're looking at Carson Wentz. When they got 4 years left, they got 2 franchise tags, the 4th year and the 5th year option. Dak says, I'm free and clear. Why would I give you the same deal that they gave their teams with 4 years left and I have none? When you could have got him for $32 million if you had signed him when you signed Zeke. So he ended up paying 20% over what he could have got him for 2 years ago.
But let's also, like I said, given some of the polling that I'd done of GMs and coaches, the one thing that really stood out to me was them saying, yeah, Dak can roll the dice here, but you have to assume that he's going to have a healthy season, that his win-loss record is going to be here. You've got to now also consider what other quarterbacks hit the market next year. And if he's viewed as a 6 through 10 guy, there may not be guys out there that are willing to pay him what he's looking for on the open market. Now, as one GM said to me, look, some team is going to talk themselves into paying him what he asked for. We saw it with the Vikings and Kirk Cousins. We saw it with the Texans and Brock Osweiler. But I just felt like there was a lot of gambling, not only for Dak, but also the Cowboys. So then are they going to overpay because he hits the market because some other team wants to pay him this? That's why I just felt like these two sides, Dak wanted to be a Dallas Cowboys player. And I think credit to him. Again, we're talking about the fact that he was playing with those numbers that I suggested through 2016 to 2020. He never held out. He always showed up to camp. He carried himself in the best way possible. This is a guy, honestly, he deserved a win. And I think he got that. The Cowboys saw that. And I think that there's a little part of this psychology. I don't know this. Skip, you've covered this team for a long time. Jerry Jones has always bet on himself. I got to think there was a level here of him respecting Dak for betting on himself and rewarding him for that. He typically has overpaid guys in the past, and we've knocked him for it. But maybe this is the one guy you should have overpaid all along.
And I think, Jane, if you look at it, you know how free agency worked. You always overpay in free agency. And Dak had to be willing to roll the dice. Yes, he wanted to stay there, but in order to get the money that he wanted, he might have had to leave. But since Dallas gave me the money that I wanted, I ain't mad.
And I don't think he wanted to leave. And then you have to assume he goes to a team and he gets paid. And I've never gotten the feeling that this was about money for Dak Prescott. Like I said, he could have held out at camp. He could have made this thing difficult. I think more importantly, it was just about feeling respected and feeling like you've done things the right way. You've overpaid guys in the past. Why is this? Why are we struggling over what seems to make a lot of sense to those of us on the outside?
Jane, in pro sports, what's the ultimate sign of respect a team can play to a player? It's money.
Show me the money.
Exactly. That's the ultimate respect. You can say, we're going to build a statue, we're going to retire your jersey. You can do all that. But while I'm playing, the ultimate sign of respect that you can bestow a player is show him the money.
Okay, last quick question from my man Shannon Sharpe. How much respect do you have for Dak Prescott, who you have repeatedly ripped on this show? Ripped and ridiculed on this show for years.
Let me hold the jersey. Let me hold the jersey right quick. I want to hold the jersey up for Dak.
No.
Let me hold the jersey.
No.
He's not going to let you hold the jersey.
Thank you, Jane.
Skip is holding on to that, Jane. Great stuff. Seriously, this is about respect and awesome points from you. We will check in with you very soon.
No mercy.
After trading Carson Wentz, the initial reports from Philly were that the team was looking to bring in competition at the quarterback position for Jalen Hurts. That may no longer be the case. The latest report is that Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie has, quote, sent the message to his personnel department and Howie Roseman that he wants to do everything he can to help Jalen Hurts be successful and not bring in somebody to compete for the job. So, Shannon, Is this the right choice to make Hurts the unquestioned starter here?
Skip, I believe it's the only choice that they can make. They can ill afford to make the mistake they made last year. By selecting Jalen Hurts in the second round, you told Carson Wentz, we don't believe in you. We don't believe you're the long-term solution for our answer. So with that being said, Wentz started to, I guess he was never the best locker room teammate. He wasn't the best leader. He became more of what you didn't want him to become. He became probably more aloof. He became more distant, Skip, and you saw what happened. So this was the only move that Jeffrey Lurie and that this team can make. Now, I'm not as sold on Jalen Hurts as seemingly Jeffrey Lurie is, Mr. Lurie is, because if you project his numbers out, he would have been sacked more, fumbled more, thrown more interceptions, had a worse completion percentage than Carson Wentz. Based on the 4 games, if you project that out over a full season, Jalen Hurts would have been worse than Carson Wentz. The offensive line isn't very good, and I'm being nice. The skill positions aren't very good. I'm being nice. It's going to, Skip, they're going to have to do an overhaul. That's basically what they have to do. Skip, the offensive line has gotten old. They re-signed Kelsey. Kelsey's still good. But Lane Johnson is coming off injury. Jason Peters gone. Brooks, their all-pro guard, has had his 2 injuries. He's missed 2 of the last 3 years, Skip. And the guy that they drafted in the first round to replace Jason Peters at left tackle, he missed the entirety of last season. So the offensive line needs major work. The skill position need upgrading. It looks like Zach Ertz is going to be out of there, and Goddard is going to be the full-time starter at tight end. They work best, Skip, when they could run the football, and they were using that 2 tight end set. So to answer Jenny's question, this was the right decision. I also believe this was the only decision. In order for you to show that you believe in him, you cannot bring another quarterback in to compete with him because you're saying he's not that. But I have concerns with Jalen Hurts. You know why, Skip? Because the players that Tua and Mac Jones were very successful with, Jalen Hurts didn't throw the ball like that. He was throwing to Jerry Jeudy. He was throwing to Henry Ruggs. He was throwing to Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts had those guys. And at what point did Jalen Hurts ever look like Tua and Mac Jones throwing the football?
When he went to Lincoln Riley. Did you watch him when he played for the University of Oklahoma?
Skip, you had that. Whew. You had that. Those guys was 40 touchdowns and 4 picks.
Did you see him throwing to C.D. Lamb?
Oh, my God. I saw him throwing in the Eagles uniform last year.
When C.D. was all he had, it was C.D. or bust. And he busted up a lot of defenses. He won a bunch of football games. I posted on social it was within a minute or 2 of him getting drafted in the second round. He will play the position better than Carson Wentz can play it. He is a much better natural-born leader of a locker room.
I won't argue that.
He's Dak-like in that he just takes over a locker room. He took over the Oklahoma program in 1 year there. So the point was, yes, he's better than Carson just as an overall performer of the position. You're right. If you extrapolate the numbers out, they're horrible. But what did your eye test tell you? He got thrown into the fire against the number 4 ranked defense of the New Orleans Saints, albeit at home. And what did he do? He beat the Saints that day, and I thought he was really good in that game. He was not good at Arizona, but he came to Dallas, and it became a shootout, and I thought he was really good in that game. He scared me as a Cowboy fan. And then against Washington, I thought he was playing pretty well up to the point they're down 17-14 going to the fourth quarter. And his nutty coach, who had sort of gone over the edge, like they just lost old Dougie P, and he puts Nate Sudfeld in for Jalen Hurts. Well, that was the end of Doug Peterson, right? That just cinched it. Yeah. You're out. So going forward, it's kind of Tebow-esque. Not that Jalen is Tim Tebow, but he has that kind of impact where you watch him throw and you say, well, that's not great. He's a better passer than Tim Tebow. But again, on intangibles, he wins with playmaking. He wins with his legs. He wins with just making that move at that time or that throw or whatever it takes to win a football game. So to me, will Jalen Hurts ever make a Pro Bowl? I doubt it. It's possible, but I'm going to bet against it.
Right.
But can you win a bunch of games? Could you win this division with Jalen Hurts? Yes, you could.
But no. It's not good enough. You make this move, you got to win this. I mean, it's all about winning Super Bowl.
Okay.
But the question is, look, Skip, I want my quarterback to be a voice or be a presence in the locker room. And you said he took over the locker room. I need him to take over the football field. I need to see better numbers. When I extrapolate his numbers, they can't be worse than the guy that he replaced.
No. I got it. But the guy he replaced was really having a hard time turning the football over.
Yes, but if you think of, let that sink in for just a second. The guy that he replaced that was turning the football over, be it fumbles and interception, completion percentage was awful. QBR was awful. Jalen Hurts, had he played the equivalent games, would have been worse.
He was 52% completions. I got it. But I still like him better than I ever liked Carson Wentz.
Yeah, because you know
you're a guy.
You know what walking to him did to you.
No, he walked all the way to Indianapolis. That's where he walked.
But not before he won 2 divisions and got a Super Bowl. He did do that.
He won 2 divisions?
He won 2 division titles.
Did he play in the playoffs?
2 division titles.
Yeah, I think he's thrown like
Skip,
3 playoff passes.
Skip, don't do that. Don't do that. Look, they didn't have to now. Okay, I'm not going to say anything about the Super Bowl run because he wasn't there. But they had the division wrapped up by the time he got hurt.
He would not have won that.
Sorry.
Okay. There'll be plenty of storylines in
That's
the
your only saving grace.
season. I'm not worried about that.
No mercy.
After Dak Prescott agreed to his historic 4-year deal, his brother Tad posted this picture of them hugging with the caption that said, quote, "When your little brother gets the call, let's go, Dak. Time to win the Cowboys a Super Bowl." So, Shannon, will Dallas win a Super Bowl in the next 4 years?
Absolutely not. Why would I believe they will win a Super Bowl in the next 4 years when they hadn't won one in the last quarter century?
So you're going to say Dak's a bust?
That's not what I said. That was not what Jenny asked. Jenny asked me a simple question. I provided a simple answer. Will they win a Super Bowl? I said absolutely not.
Okay, so did Jerry overpay for Dak Prescott?
No, he paid the price of the market. So let me ask you a question, Skip. Healthy, are they better than the Packers? Are they better than the Bucs? Are they better than the Rams? No.
Got to see what happens in free agency and draft.
Did you just hear James Slater say they're frugal? They're not going to spend no money?
I disagree with her. I think you're going to be shocked by what they do.
Outside of Dion, and when was the last time they played big-time money for a free agent? That's not what they do, Skip.
Sometimes they do.
Okay. 49ers, Cardinals, and then you look at the AFC, Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, they aren't going anywhere in the AFC.
Hey, we did say the next 4 years, right?
I like the signing. I think Dak deserved the money. He's done everything they've asked him to do, except win them a championship. And you believe that's going to come. I don't, because I don't see. Now, if you tell me they're going to vastly improve defensively, okay, I Skip say you might have to you might got my feet to the fire. But I don't see that happening. So I'm going to say no.
Who did I predict was going to win last year's Super Bowl? Was I right?
Why you really went out on a limb?
Oh, I did go out because you thought they were garbage.
The guy that's won 6 of the last, 20 Super Bowls.
And you said he was done, washed up, go home.
The only way I can guarantee you that Tom Brady wouldn't win a Super Bowl, put a star on his helmet. Put a star on his helmet, I guarantee you wouldn't win one.
Jerry had a shot at that. So here's the bottom line to this. You get paid, then you pay in expectations because they're going to come. And I was surprised that his brother tweeted about, now it's time to go win a Super Bowl.
But he knows
that increases the expectations.
But Skip, that's the expectations when you make that kind of money. The expectations are there for Deshaun. Obviously, even Mahomes, although he had won one, that's there. And once you get this kind of money, Skip, that's the expectations. Whether you've won, obviously with Russ and Brady, Rodgers, they've already won a Super Bowl. But the expectations, if you get paid, what do you think when Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, when they come along and get these big paydays, and I believe they'll jump in front of Dak. The expectations are there. That's what.
But I don't think Patrick Mahomes felt an ounce more pressure because he had already been Super Bowl MVP.
The expectations is Skip now. It's the only thing that matters is Super Bowls for him. He can't throw for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. No. Oh, that was a great season.
I agree.
He's measured by Super Bowls.
So I fully expect Dak Prescott to win my Dallas Cowboys 1 Super Bowl in the next 4 years. I'll take 2, but I
bet you would take.
I fully expect 1. And I believe he will pay us back with 1 Super Bowl in the next 4 years. I don't know. It could be next year. I like their window opening next year because I told you, Ty Smith, Zach Martin, they're only 30 years of age. I think they could have big Pro Bowl years and all of a sudden back in business. Yeah.
You know what I'm doing, Skip?
What are you doing?
I'm nailing your window shut.
Really?
You talking about your window's open, I'm nailing it shut.
You know what I'm doing? I'm kissing my jersey. Yeah. Thank you, Dak.
Skip, look. I don't think Dak got his money. Jerry says, you know what Jerry's thinking, Skip. Jerry says, Dak, I gave you what you wanted. No trade, no franchise tag, the most money ever at signing, $95 million fully guaranteed.
Got it.
I need you to give me one thing.
That is correct.
Jerry said, what was that, 3 years ago, Skip? He says, before he leaves this earth, he wants one more.
That is correct.
That's what he said.
That's why he paid for what he wants. And remember, my team has not even been to an NFC championship game since 1995 season. So we're going, what?
25, quarter century.
26 years.
Yeah. So what makes me think now all of a sudden? Because you paid money?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the respect and the belief, I feel like Dak needed that as well from the Cowboys.
No mercy.
Welcome back. The Herd is coming up next right here on FS1. So let's head over check in with Colin. Colin, I have a feeling I know where you're going today.
We're going to lead with Dak. And I'm going to spin it, at least to start, positively. Because I see myself as a glass half full guy. So positive Uncle Colin to start the show.
Glass half full. I like it. Thanks, Colin. So how about this, though? The Buccaneers this morning have reportedly informed receiver Chris Godwin that he will be franchise tagged. That means Tom Brady will keep the starting receiver, but questions remain now on the defensive side of the ball with stars like Shaq Barrett and Levante David on the verge of hitting free agency. So, Shannon, now that they've tagged Godwin, what does it really mean for Shaq Barrett?
I believe Shaq was gone. The only way they were going to be able to keep him is Skip. He's made it abundantly clear. It's time for him to break the bank. I believe also Levante David will be gone because I believe somebody, Skip, you hear the term over the last year and a half, 2 years, generational wealth. And this is what these two guys will get an opportunity to do. Somebody's going to, considering the year that Levante David, I think in his first 8 years, the only guy to have 1,000 tackles, 20 sacks, and 10 interceptions. The other linebacker to do that, Ray Lewis. I think somebody's going to pay Levante David a boatload of money. I know Shaq Barrett, who's a premium pass rusher, who could also play the run, is going to get a boatload of money. I believe they lose both of those guys.
I believe they keep both of those guys. They're going to get a boatload of money to stay in Tampa Bay.
No mercy.